Like, I was all for Trump, dude. I was all for Trump.
I hate that I voted for him.
Latinos for Trump, women for Trump, and even veterans for Trump are now regretting their vote as they're being directly affected by Trump's policy. They fucked around and now they're finding out. But it's not just them. It seems like we're all about to pay the price as farms are reporting that field workers are not showing up to pick the produce, and the effects are already being felt down the distribution line, with truckers saying they've gone from leaving California with truckloads full of produce to leaving the state with empty trailers. And in some places, prices are already skyrocketing with expectations of countrywide price hikes as soon as new produce deliveries are due. I want you to guess where this $20 watermelon is being sold. I'll give you a hint. It's in the lower 48, not Hawaii, not Alaska. Before I tell you where it's being sold, let's take a look at a video of a woman who was all for Trump take to the internet crying because she heard rumors that Trump wanted to give the person paying child support the ability to claim the children on their taxes, therefore giving them the child tax credit. And to say the least, as a mom who gets child support, she didn't like to hear that. And she took to the internet crying, asking for people to explain how that made any sense.
Like, I was all for Trump, dude. I was all for Trump. And then hearing this whole thing of like, so yes, I have my kid's dad on child support, okay? I get $200 a month for both of them, okay? What is $200 going to do in California? Nothing, but it is what it is. I don't care. It's something. It's like something for me to take the boys out and do something fun since I can't do it on my own. Now with Trump passing the law that if your kid's on if you put your baby dad on child support, they're going to be getting the money from the child, like for child tax. How the does that work? How does that work, dude? I'm literally the one that takes care of them 24/7, have for the past 10 years. How can he file and get all the money when I'm the one taking care of them? He's been MIA for like 7 months. What?
But before all of you paying child support get too excited, I want you to know that none of that is true. There is no plan to change who gets to claim the children on their taxes. It was all a satirical post made by someone on TikTok that went viral and had everyone believing it was going to become law. I want to make that clear because it points to the mediocrity that has a hold on the American public right now. Not only will people believe anything they see on the internet, they won't even take 5 seconds to Google things and would rather record themselves crying on TikTok. And that's a pattern you'll see in all of the clips that I'm about to show you. People lured in with promises of lower prices on day one with disregard of how those policies will affect not only migrants, but US citizens as well. There's already reports of natural-born citizens being detained, as well as Native Americans being targeted because of the color of their skin. Oh, but God forbid Trump does something that has a direct effect on MAGA because they're quick to pull the victim card. Here's another ridiculous clip that I found of a Latina for Trump crying because somehow she feels like Trump broke his promise about deportations, even though he promised mass deportations on day one. Let's take a look.
This is so crazy that we voted for Trump. We trust him with the word that he promised us Latinos. This is crazy that starting next week, multiple cities will be hitting immigration. That is so crazy that multiple people are scared to go to work. Where I work at, a lot of Latinos did not go to work. And that's crazy because we have a living too. Now I'm so scared for my family and y'all family. Y'all, we need to come together and do something about this.
And it doesn't end with Latinos for Trump. Even veterans for Trump took to the internet complaining once Trump policies started to directly affect them. Like this veteran who had his life put on hold after Trump's executive order to freeze hiring at the federal level. Here's what he said. "Attention please, help President Trump and Senator Cruz. My wife is a nurse and was recently hired by the VA. Our home is packed up. We have a new home. We have spent thousands to move our family from Fort Worth to Waco. Following Trump's hiring freeze executive order, VI rescinded her job offer. My wife is in tears and inconsolable, and my family is devastated. It has been my wife's dream to work with needy disabled veterans. I'm a disabled vet. Now our family is lost with no clear path of what to do. Her job was to start in 2 weeks, right after we settled in. We are all huge Trump supporters, and I know this was an unintended consequence. I'm sure veterans medical care professionals were not the target of this executive order. And of course, he only said something was he was the one being affected. Luckily for a lot of Americans, that hiring freeze was lifted for the VA, which didn't need to happen in the first place, just Trump doing Trump things without putting a single thought into it. But of course, once that was settled, Mr. Basham went back to his regular right-wing posting like defending Elon's salute. Very in brand with the whole red hat thing, so I'm not surprised, but moving on. Now this next one seems to be a lesson we're all gonna learn collectively, and we'll probably start seeing the effects of it in the next week or so. Now, I've been seeing video after video of fields ready for harvest completely empty, which many consider to be the first sign of an incoming food price hike. Many immigrants are scared to go to work, which means produce is being left to rot in the fields. Less supply, price goes up. That's one of the 3 signs I'm going to show you of what's to come, but let's hear it directly from an owner of one of these farms.
Good morning, my American citizens. How you guys been? Okay, guys, I have good news and bad news. All right, let me tell you. What's going on, guys. So you see right here, this is grape. All right, man. This grape is gonna go up in value, like double the price, thanks to all those immigrants that have left the country. Right now, everybody's saying about they're gonna buy machines. Okay, guys, the machines are worth more than they're worth like $2 million or more for each machine. So imagine this. You need machines, then you need the technicians to fix the machines. So you think, oh yeah, we don't need the immigrants. You're wrong. The price on the veggies and the fruits are gonna go up. So you guys ready to pay double the price? Okay, you wanna do that? Go ahead. But get ready. Everything's gonna go up. Everything's gonna go up. Get ready. God bless.
Now, the second sign that we're in our way into a food shortage is that those transporting the produce are already seeing their shipments dwindling in size. Let's hear it from one of those truckers.
Something just dawned on me. I'm stuck in California for the weekend, right? Because Friday I had a load lined up, ready to go. Easy 1-2 pickups in the same area, head back to Florida. And at the last minute, they canceled it because they didn't have enough product. Now, what I'm picking up and what I usually pick up from California is produce, vegetables, and fruits. Some of these loads I get like 22, 24 pallets, and they may cut like 1 or 2 pallets sometimes. But this time, I was only picking up 13 pallets in total, and they cut the whole thing. What on earth could be happening that they didn't have enough product to cover 13 pallets of lemons and carrots? And then it hit me like a bag of vanilla ice. We are all gonna get a sample of what it feels like to be under pressure. There isn't enough product, not enough carrots, oranges, lemons, strawberries, grapes, none of that. There's not enough of the product because ain't nobody there to pick the product. Because they're in fear. Probably not even in fear of being actually deported. There probably is fear. But more so annoyance, because I'd be annoyed as somebody came to my job and be like, show me your papers. What do you mean show me your papers? I feed you. Just because it's not happening to you don't mean it won't affect you. And I forgot I already knew that. I'm just speculating. I don't know what's going on for real. But if I was a betting man.
With loads not being delivered, what do you think the third sign of the show we're in is? The little produce there is, they will mark the price up out of their... Because what are you gonna do? Not eat? That $20 watermelon from the beginning? That video was taken in New Jersey. And I want you to notice that it's not even organic nor labeled in any other way that would make it more expensive. Food is one of those things that you can't cut out. If you want to save a little money, you stop eating out, you stop buying unnecessary things, fancy clothes, you keep your phone for another year before upgrading. But that's not an option when it comes to food. We're all gonna get hit hard by this, and there's not a single thing we can do. I'm not blind. I know a lot of people are already skipping meals just so that their kids have something to eat. I'm not gonna lie, I would love nothing more than to be wrong. I'd much rather look like a fool on the internet than experience what I think is to come. So if you have the ability to prepare, do so. Better safe than sorry. Stock up on canned foods if you can. And if you need more evidence that those people got conned with the economy and promises of prices going down, here's an egg farmer explaining why eggs will probably never drop in price again.
So egg prices have gone up. It's been 2 days.
As a poultry farmer, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why your egg prices are getting so high. And bird flu is most definitely not the biggest reason why egg prices have gotten so high. So yes, there's been much discourse about the price of eggs and how they remain still very, very high. And I got news for you folks, they're not going to get much cheaper anytime soon, if ever. Now, there's been a lot of press and a lot of talk in social media about the impact of bird flu on egg prices, but my feeling is it's a little bit overplayed. because yes, there have been outbreaks, and yes, when an outbreak happens on a farm, they pretty much have to put down all of their birds, and yes, the fact that they lose their birds means that they do have fewer birds to lay eggs, but the reality is most large-scale egg operations usually will replace all of their hens within 3 years, because after about year 2.5, 3, the bird stops producing as many eggs, and so they're constantly creating new successions of flocks, and so when these outbreaks happen, yes, they often will affect egg production, but not nearly as much as you might expect. And it usually takes about 9 months for you to replace a bird, to go from basically hatching a bird to having a bird that's at peak production. And so yes, these large outbreaks do affect the number of layers available. The second reason, and probably the biggest reason why egg prices have gotten so high, is because the cost of all the inputs have gotten so much higher. Labor costs are higher, transportation costs are higher, feed costs are higher, production materials costs are higher. You know, I was actually just looking at some numbers here, and if I look back at 2020 prices, an egg carton cost about 21 cents when you were buying it in bulk. That same bulk packaging of egg cartons costs about 35 cents today. So that's a pretty significant boost. But then on top of that, chickens are very hungry animals, and your biggest cost with chickens usually is always feed. And feed has increased about 50% since 2020. When you think about the cost of producing your eggs, it has gotten significantly higher. And I think it's actually pretty fair to estimate that it's somewhere between 50 and 75% increase in production costs, which is then going to be a cost that gets passed on to you, the consumer. And then the third and final reason why egg prices have gotten so high is the really obvious one: greed. The eggs that you are buying pass through many hands, and with each price increase at each point of the transaction, from the farmer to the distributor to the grocery store to you, usually somebody's adding additional cost on top based on a percentage, not just on the increase. And so while it might end up costing the farmer 75 cents more to produce that dozen of eggs than it did 5 years ago, that 75 cents gets compounded a number of times, which ultimately leads to you being at the grocery store having to pay $9 for a dozen eggs.
But that's all I got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, even though it's not a very enjoyable topic, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out. Stay safe and have a great rest of your day.